My name is Sydney Christopherson, and I'm going to be presenting on To Kill a Mockingbird. To Kill a Mockingbird was a 1960 novel by Harper Lee and a 1962 film of the same name based on Lee's material. The story follows a 10-year-old girl named Scout Finch. Here she is in a ham costume, and it's set in Macomb, Alabama in the 1930s. The events of the novel transpire when her father, a white lawyer named Atticus Finch, defends a black man named Tom Robinson, who is falsely accused of raping a young white woman. Despite the overwhelming evidence that Atticus Finch presents at the trial and the fact that the Yules had been lying about everything and had a very bad reputation in the town, he is still convicted of the rape due to the overwhelming sense of racism and the deep-seated racism of the South in this town. As we've been reading in class, we know that the 1960s was a really turbulent time in the United States, especially with racial segregation and racial inequality. So Harper's book and film came out in a controversial time. However, its message was well received, especially by supporters of ending segregation once and for all and promoting racial equality. So because segregation was prevalent in many states, Black people, if they wanted to see the movie, they were forced to go to colored-only movie theaters, despite the subject material arguing against racial segregation and the racial supremacy of white people. And Tuttle, a journalist, argued that To Kill a Mockingbird was right in the midst of it, of this civil rights movement, and it had a message. And I think it was incredibly significant, this message, because it showed to white audiences, because everyone went to the movies, including the white people. It showed that in mainstream culture we can show a racially charged movie and prove that Black people deserve rights as well. Mary Badham, the woman who played Scout in the movie, later said that To Kill a Mockingbird went a long way towards helping with the societal changes that we've been through since then. So she argues that this movie and book helped pave the way for desegregation and promoting racial equality because it showed how good of a person Atticus was for helping out Tom Robinson. And here is a still from the movie of the courtroom where mostly it's all white people at the bottom because it was a segregated courtroom, but Atticus stood next to his defendant, or who he was defending, Tom Robinson, who's Black. The 1960s were a turbulent time, especially combating racial inequality for Blacks. And having a movie like To Kill a Mockingbird be in mainstream culture and for a wide array of audiences to see it, it only brought the attention more towards the injustices that Black people face. Despite the movie being set in the 1930s, it was still a problem to that day. So it was an incredibly significant movie and book that is still being read to this day because of how important its message is in combating racial inequality. Thank you.
Will the defendant please rise and face the jury? What is your verdict?
We find the defendant guilty as charged.
Gentlemen, this jury is dismissed. Court's adjourned.
I'll go to see Helen first thing tomorrow morning. I told her not to be disappointed. We'd probably lose this one. Tom.
father's passed.